Good evening. We'll call the Granite City Community School District Board meeting to order for July 27, 2021. Thanks for being here, everybody. Roll call, please. Zach?
Stacy?
Here.
Vinny?
Here.
Knogle?
Here.
Kern?
Here.
Nunn here. McMasters?
Here.
Wilmsmeyer?
Here. We have a quorum. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance followed by an invocation by Pastor Carla Frost from St. John's United Church of Christ. Thank you for being here, Pastor. Welcome. And if anyone does not wish to pray, they may step out at the hall, in the hall at that time. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Thank you, Lord, for calling dedicated school district staff, volunteers, and community leaders to serve in a new school year. May their dedication be a blessing to the children and youth. May the joys of life and learning be shared in every circumstance. Yes, there is joy, even as everyone is impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic and opinions are varied. For the welfare of school and community concerns, guide the decision makers so that reputable, informed wisdom is best applied. Inspire respect that listens to input, considers options, and works with outcomes whether in agreement or not. Some students come from difficult life situations. Family support may be limited for many reasons, and school is the first line of help and direction and of hope. Some students may be pressured by self and family to do and achieve more and more. Open our hearts to compassion and our actions to understanding that stress affects everyone, including caring staff. Life changes. We experience both joys and difficult losses, like the death of dedicated staff, friends, and family. But we know you are with us always, O God. Continue to bless our school district as we offer our best efforts in the upcoming school year and in all that we do. Amen.
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 Thank you, Pastor.
so much.
Thank you, Pastor. Okay, next on the agenda, Pastor, thank you again so very much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Next on the agenda is public comment. Those, and we've got a couple here, I'll read those off just momentarily, but before anybody comes up for public comment, again, we would ask that you keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. This is not a spot for debate. This is for your opinion and any prepared statements or otherwise that you have. So this will not, and please don't expect a response from the board at all. At this time, we do not even have this on the agenda tonight for any discussion about probably what you're here to talk about tonight. So, and I think, Tom, did I cover everything?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. With that, we have a couple of people who let us know ahead of time that they wanted to come up and talk. And I apologize if I pronounce your name incorrectly here, but Ari Sandeyahas Tyler?
Yeah.
Did I get it close?
Ari.
That was better from
It was better, yeah. Yes, so thank you guys.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Yes, thanks for hearing me again. Thanks for allowing me to talk. I wasn't really planning on speaking again because I know I talked to you guys last time, but a lot of parents reached out to me, so I'm sort of was nominated to do this. But just to refresh your memory, I'm the parent of an incoming kindergartner, and I teach in the Belleville 118 school district. And what I'm going to read to you right now are just some of the comments that parents messaged me and told me in person, and I have permission to use all their names. So just regarding the masks, Kim Lacefield said, my foster child has an IEP for chew toys. Since she can't chew toys with a mask, she chews on her mask, and her lips became so raw last year that they scabbed over. She probably ate more germs than a necklace chew would let her. And her mom said she played a lot with her mask and she wasn't allowed to wear a shield. Vanessa Keller said her child is hearing impaired and reads lips and depends on facial expressions and cues to understand. She said try learning in an environment where you can't hear and only see half of someone's face. Cindy Yates Kimberlin said my 5-year-old is having anxiety about starting school, and to force her to wear a mask on top of going to school and being away from me for the first time is unreasonable. It's hard enough to make her wear it in the store for a few minutes, let alone all day in a classroom. Chastity Davis said my daughter has anxiety, and the wearing of a mask fogs up her glasses, making it really hard to see as well. Stephanie Borth, my 6-year-old nephew, started getting severe headaches during school. He was missing school due to headaches. Doctors couldn't find a thing wrong. Their only explanation was lack of the proper amount of oxygen due to his mask. Megan Thomas says she has a son with sensory issues and 2 sons that wear glasses. She said it's very difficult for them to learn and focus. Annie Woolard, my son has autism and needs to see facial expressions. Lori Whittington, one day of wearing masks, my 7-year-old has had trouble. I've tried everything, different sizes, materials, you name it, I've tried it all. He tells me all the time he can't breathe and they hurt his ears and they're in his line of vision. Sarah Harper just said her daughters just chose to stay home because the masks were just too uncomfortable. The following are from District 9 teachers who wanted to remain anonymous. The kids constantly play with them, chew on them, just making them completely ineffective, pull on them, blow their nose in them. A teacher said I felt some of my special ed kids were more focused on that than learning. Another teacher said it just overall makes teaching reading harder. One example is just seeing the S sound, and overall the masks are just really hard to teach with. I love this community. I think we have a really good community. I have so much pride in Granite. I think we've all experienced going to the store. Some people wear masks, some don't. Everybody respects everyone's choice. Last week, my son attended a Bible school with 200 kids and volunteers. Some of the kids wore masks, some of them didn't. None of the parents complained to each other. They all just understood where each other was coming from. And I don't know if you guys have kids, but if yours are okay with wearing masks, that's great. But not all of us are that lucky, which is giving us a lot of anxiety. It's the same when I go to the Brown Rec Center down the street. Some of the kids wear them and some of them don't. Everybody just respects each other. So you can watch the news and it might seem like this issue is so divisive, but in this community it's not. People just understand each other. I just don't think the school district should dictate when to follow the CDC guidelines. I stated last time, 60 minutes of physical activity is the recommendation for children. It's 300 minutes for adults, so think if you followed the CDC guidelines last week on that. I don't even know if kids get 30 minutes of daily PE at school. Sugar is a known suppressor of our immune system, but some of the school's breakfasts contain more sugar than recommended for an entire day. What makes a difference, in my experience teaching, is hand washing and staying home if you're sick, and I would work with you guys to promote that because I think staying home is the most important thing if you're sick. I was reading the board code of conduct from the district website, and the first sentence states, I will represent all school district constituents honestly and equally and refuse to surrender my responsibilities to special interest or partisan policy groups. So if you guys really want to follow this duty, please make masks optional for these kids. I want them in school, and I never thought as a teacher I would be considering homeschooling, but it's a serious consideration just because I can't subject my kid to getting in trouble every day for not keeping a mask on. I don't want to homeschool him, but it might be the best choice for us for now. Just think about these little kids. I don't know what you guys do for work all day, but if you're in an office, you have the chance to take off your mask. If you are retired or work remotely, you have the chance to take off your mask. So I challenge you guys to go home tonight, tomorrow, put it on, keep it on for 6 hours like these little kids are supposed to do, and don't touch it, don't mess with it, and just think about these little tiny people that are going and learning for the first time. So I just hope that I've shown you guys another perspective from people in our community, and thank you guys for listening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
The other individual we had was Mr. Thomas DeBoer.
Thank you very much, sir. My name is Tom DeVore. I'm an attorney and live in Bond County, Illinois. We have offices in Madison County as close as Glen Carbon. I've had a few parents reach out to me, ask me to come speak to you. I've spoken to another school district or two in the area, and I was pleased to do so. As we all know, there's a political tenet to this and there's a legal part. The politics of it in your community are not for me. I don't live here, even though I was born here. And so that's between the board and their constituents. I would only say that the interesting issue as for children is that statistically speaking, the chances of them getting seriously ill and passing away from COVID is so close to zero, it's zero. So when they come to your school and they're going to be required or not required to put a mask on, when they leave this school, they go do whatever it is they're doing with their parents. I've watched it, I've witnessed it, I've seen it across the state. So ask yourself whether putting a mask on them really is going to keep them safe. And that's a decision for you to make with your parents. There's all a big conversation now about this new CDC updated recommendation, and I'd ask each of you to ask yourself if you think it's a coincidence that for the last year and a half, this decision-making has been at the state level, and all of a sudden they want to delegate it to these local school boards. Do you think that was a coincidence? In my humble opinion, it was not. It now has these local school districts having to deal with this issue. But this new CDC guidance doesn't really change anything. Before it said if you're fully vaccinated, you didn't have to wear a mask indoors. If you didn't, they recommended that you do. But really, it's up to local control. Now they're updating it, interestingly enough, because school districts across this country are making a decision. Well, we recommend that everybody, regardless of vaccination status, wear the mask. We recommend it. But it's still local control. It's still your decision. The breadth of your decision making is what I wanted to talk to you about. But it's up to you to call this within the parameters of what you think is best. Politically, for your parents, legally, this is what I have to say. You will all find it interesting that there is precedent in the state of Illinois that deals with the ability of a local school district to put conditions precedent on the ability for children to walk in this building and be educated, which is a constitutional right. There are some thresholds to your discretion, but you do have some. And the case that's almost exactly on point, do you know what school district in 1918 was at this case? Granite City. Kid you not, it's the Hagler v. Larner case, counselor, and it was in 1918, 284 Ill 547. Granite City School District, based upon a resolution passed by the Board of Health during the smallpox pandemic, created a condition precedent to come into these schools, and it said back then it was vaccination, now we're talking about masks. Medical intervention is in and of the same. You had to have a vaccine to walk in that school and to become educated. And if you didn't have the vaccine, you were temporarily not allowed inside the school. And a bunch of parents sued the school district and the Board of Health and said that that was an unlawful exercise of discretion. And you know what? The school district won in that case. They won. And what the Supreme Court said is that, wait a second, if this was a blanket rule across the board, that's tantamount to lawmaking, and the legislature makes the laws. But in this circumstance, this school district made an emergency decision, a temporary emergency, based upon a resolution of the Board of Health that said we have a real identifiable emergency in the community, and that temporary power that you were wielding was administrative in nature and not legislative, and as a result, it was not seen to be an abuse of the school district's discretion. And it relied upon some cases that came before it that delineate between a legislative act or an administrative act. Legislative acts would have been an absolute bar. You can't come in this school no matter what unless you've had a vaccine because we think it's best. The Supreme Court said that's legislative. But since there was an actual resolution passed by the Board of Health saying we've got a real emergency in our community, smallpox, 30% mortality rate, people are passing away, we create this temporary measure. Court says, okay. You now have in your county the Board of Health taking the opposite position that they took in this case, where they're saying they're recommending to you make masks optional. Your Board of Health, they're the experts in health, not school boards. And so I'd ask you to consider if in fact your Board of Health has passed a resolution asking you and recommending to make it optional. Can you infer from that there's a public health emergency that you should wield this emergency power? Or is your Board of Health saying we don't believe that an emergency exists from a public health perspective? Because if not, we wouldn't be asking you to make it recommended. So I believe, based upon the precedent in Illinois and in the unique position that this school district finds itself, that your Board of Health has taken a position on this matter, that it would be contrary to the Supreme Court precedent to say we're going to wield this power on an emergency basis to create this condition precedent because you don't have an identifiable public health emergency according to your local Board of Health. Last issue I'll leave you with is quarantine. Every parent in the state, every school district, my children graduated from high school going to college, they got quarantined 4 times last year. A kid gets test positive in school, and every kid within an immediate surrounding area, sometimes miles apart, your kid can't come to school. They get a call from the superintendent, or they get a call from the school nurse, or get a call from the Board of Health, the kid can't go to school. I knew back then that that was problematic, but I said, okay, I'll pick my battles. But now your Illinois State Board of Education has passed a resolution that says kids must be in person, they must be learning, unless they do not have the COVID vaccine, and it's bolded, there's an order of quarantine against that child. An order of quarantine is a real identifiable legal document that's issued pursuant to 20 ILCS 2305 that says in order to quarantine any citizen of this state, child or otherwise, you have to have consent of the parent, if it's a minor, or an order of the court. There is an emergency provision that gives the Board of Health 48-hour emergency authority, but then they have to go to court. But that order of quarantine, I believe, should be significant going into this year because parents are a lot more, let's call it, interested in this topic than they were a year ago. You all know that. That if parents are going to stand firm and say the resolution of ISB says you have to have an order of quarantine, I don't consent, get a court order, that could be problematic for school districts when they're trying to tell a child you can't come into the school because somebody has said so. A phone call, I called them quarantine calls last year. A quarantine call is not an order of quarantine, and I believe that's something that the district should pay attention to as the year continues. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. I do want to say this is in no way a response because I'm going to forget about this by the rest. I know when we get on with the agenda, probably most of you are going to leave. But if you would please spread for us, we need 20 bus drivers and 2 vans to our way because honestly, all this goes out the door if we can't get the kids to the school.
It's a real concern right now.
Please spread that. If you know of anyone at all that's looking to drive a bus to help us out, we're going to need it and very quickly. Signing bonuses, they teach you how to drive it, they teach you what to do, so please.
Central, correct?
Counselor. Yeah. We're not busy enough.
Especially right now.
Yeah, exactly, sir.
That's right.
Thank you.
Again,
Or so.
Any other public comment?
oh, I'm sorry, any other public comment tonight? Excellent, thank you all for being here. You're welcome to stay the whole meeting, please. Watch the board meeting. Appreciate that.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Moving on, item number 5 is minutes, the approval from the July 13th, 2021 meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Motion on a second. Got it. Okay, roll call.
Vinnie?
Aye.
Knogle?
Aye.
Kern?
Aye.
None, I, McMaster?
Aye.
Stacy?
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer?
Aye.
Who was the motion and second on that?
Bill motion, Erica second.
Thank you.
Item number 6, consent agenda. And what we have tonight is the bill list on that consent agenda. So moved. Second. Motion by Eric, seconded by Bill. Any discussion? Roll call.
Knogle?
Aye.
Kern?
Aye.
None, I, McMaster?
Aye.
Stacy?
Aye.
Vinnie?
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer?
Aye. Item number 8A, retirements and resignations.
Mr. President of the Board, it is recommended the following retirements and resignations be accepted. Lonnie Swanson, first grade teacher at Wilson, retirement effective the end of 25-26 school year. Cynthia Nesper, special ed teacher, retirement from Vernon City High School, end of the 25-26 school year. Paula Hummel Wilder, fifth grade teacher, Grigsby, retirement scheduled for the end of the 25-26 school year. Deanne Lobb, kindergarten teacher at Prather, retirement end of the 25-26 school year. Alexandria Lockoff, special ed teacher at Grigsby, resignation effective 7/16/21. Jordan Lockoff, science teacher at Coolidge, resignation effective 7/16/21.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Bill, seconded by Linda. Any discussion? Roll call.
Kern?
Aye.
None, I, McMaster?
Aye.
Stacy?
Aye.
Vinnie?
Aye.
Knogle?
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer?
Aye. And regrets with all of those, right?
And
That's shame to lose them.
Yeah, really.
Item 8B, request for leave of absence.
Mr. President, the board has recommended the following leaves be approved. Tony Dodd, special ed teacher, Coolidge Junior High School, effective 8/16/21 to 11/8/21. Lisa Reser, thank you, I'm sorry. Research teacher at Grigsby from 8/18/21 to 11/10/21. Hannah Bush, ESL teacher at GCHS, leave from 8/16/21 to 11/8/21. And Kendra Bristol, business teacher at the high school, effective 11/8/21 to 1/31/22.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Eric, thank you. Second by Bill. Any discussion? Roll call.
None, I, McMasters.
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Kern,
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 8C, rescind recommendation of the Coolidge STEM teacher.
Mr. President, the board, due to Justin Carpenter declining the offer of the 21-22 STEM teacher at Coolidge Junior High School, the administration has requested rescinding the recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
McMasters.
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Kern,
Aye.
none, I, Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 8D, employment of the Coolidge Junior High School science and STEM teacher for the 21-22 school year.
Mr. President, the board, you've received information below about this item. The administration is prepared to make these recommendations. We recommend that the following two candidates be recommended for hire. Robert Gregonius, recommended for this junior high STEM teaching position, and Melissa Huberger for the recommendation for the science junior high teaching position.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Erica, second by Linda. Any discussion? Roll call.
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Kern,
Aye.
none, I, McMasters.
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 8E, employment of the Granite City High School English teacher for the 21-22 school year.
Mr. President, the board, due to Chris Hutchings being moved to an administrative position, the opening for the high school, oh, that's a different one, for the administration is recommending Ashley Ritchie for the position of high school special education.
So moved.
Second.
We'll give it to Talon.
As long as you got it.
I'm closer.
Any discussion?
Sorry about that one.
Roll call.
The motion was by Stacy and then the second by Kern. Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Kern,
Aye.
none, I, McMasters.
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 8F, employment of the Granite City High School math teacher for 21-22.
Mr. President, the board, the administration is recommending the following candidate, Ms. Natalie Rushing, for the high school math position.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Knogle,
Aye.
Kern,
Aye.
none, I, McMasters.
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 8G, employment of the Granite City High School special education teacher for the 21-22 school year.
Mr. President, the board, the administration is recommending Tracy Hill for the special ed position.
So moved.
Second.
I think Talon beat you, Linda,
Yes,
just
he
by
did.
unanimous.
Again.
Quick draw.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Kern,
Aye.
none, I, McMasters. Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 8H, rescind the appointment of the Granite City High School extracurriculars for 21-22 school year.
Mr. President, the board, the administration has recommended the recension of the following appointments. Mr. Chris Hutchings, GCHS English Department Head, and Mr. Bill Carpenter, GCHS Assistant Football Coach.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Bill, seconded by Talon. Any discussion? Roll call.
None, I, McMasters.
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Kern,
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 8I, the Granite City High School extracurricular, I'm sorry. No, we didn't. Extracurricular resignations for 21-22 school year. I'm getting myself confused.
Mr. President, the board, administration has recommended the following extracurricular resignation be accepted. Mr. Steve Rustio, GCHS Assistant Cross Country Coach.
So moved.
Second.
I'm just waiting on
We'll give it to Erica. Any discussion? Roll call.
McMasters,
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Kern,
Aye.
none, I, Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 8J, the extracurricular recommendations for Granite City High School for the 21-22 school year.
The high school administration and board administration has recommended the following extracurricular for the 21-22 school year. Ms. Melissa Kimball for the Play 3 position.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Kern,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMasters,
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 8K, Coolidge Junior High School extracurricular recommendations for the 21-22 school year.
Mr. President, the board, myself, and the Coolidge Junior High School Administration is recommending the following extracurricular position for the 21-22 school year. Mr. Bill Carpenter for the assistant football coach.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Good job, Linda. Got you in there.
Yes.
Any discussion?
Really?
Roll call.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Kern,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMasters, Stacy,
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 8L, Coolidge Junior High School extracurricular recommendation for baseball coaching position for the 21-22 school year.
Mr. President of the board, the Coolidge baseball coaching position has been a voluntary position for 3 years for the teachers' collective bargaining agreement, 743. We are requesting that it be placed on the extracurricular salary schedule at club level A for one head coach and club level B for one assistant coach for the 21-22 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Knogle,
Aye.
Kern,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMasters,
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 8M, elementary extracurricular recommendation for the 21-22 school year.
Mr. President of the board, the Special Education Administration Superintendent is recommending the following extracurricular for the 21-22 school year. Ms. Marcia Dodds, Department Head Early Childhood, Ms. Ann Mayhall, Department Head Speech and Language, Ms. Christy Ledbetter, Department Head Social Work Psychologist, Ms. Karen Hatch, Lead Therapist.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Erica, second by Bill. Any discussion? Roll call.
Kern,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMasters,
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 8N, employment of Title I aides for the 21-22 school year.
Mr. President of the board, with a rate of $12.75 per hour for those without a degree and $15 for those with a degree, with a certified for a degree. Title aides work only when students are in attendance. The following list is recommended for approval. Gloria Sharp, Betty Jo Mayer, Ruth Lathrop, Nanette Cochran, Paula Ward, Lisa Mink, Dana Allen, Brittany Lindsay, and Melanie Williams.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Erica, second by Talon. Any discussion?
It's a great list of ladies.
I know.
Fantastic.
I know it is.
Roll call.
Nunn, I, McMasters,
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Kern,
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 8O is the employment of 3 full-time custodians.
Mr. President of the board, the administration are recommending the following 3 candidates for full-time custodians. Mr. Rodney Hayes, Ms. Tanya Pulley, and Mr. Rodney Sampson.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Eric,
Baby time.
seconded by who to give it to?
I gave it to Stacy.
Ooh.
Oh, there
That's
you go.
motion. Who, second?
Second is to Vinnie.
Vinnie, Erica,
Yep.
okay. Any discussion? Roll call?
McMasters,
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Kern,
Aye.
Nunn, I, Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 8P, employment of certified and classified substitutes for the 21-22 school year.
Mr. President of the board, it is recommended that the following applicants be board approved as substitutes for the 21-22 school year. And as much as I would love to read all 100+ of these because I am forever grateful to them, there is a list provided to you here.
So moved.
Wonderful.
Second.
Motion by Bill, seconded by Eric. Any discussion? Roll call.
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Kern,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMasters,
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. And thank you to all the substitutes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Item 8Q, employment of payroll specialist for the 21-22 school year.
Mr. President of the board, administration is recommending the following candidate for the payroll specialist position, Brendan Rosenberg.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Bill, seconded by Linda. Any discussion? I will say welcome aboard Brendan, because, we definitely need you in this position. So
Yes,
it's
we do.
been a long time, so we
Long
definitely
time
need you.
coming.
Roll call, please.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMasters.
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 8R is approval of volunteers for the 21-22 school year.
Mr. President of the Board, the administration respectfully requests board approval for the following volunteers for the 21-22 school year. I also want to say again that we really appreciate that these teachers and these people want to get involved on a volunteer basis to help our students. So, with that being said, Erin Mueller for the GCHS Gay Straight Alliance, Amy Pinnell, GCHS Thespian Club, Tim Wilson, Coolidge Head Softball Coach, and Ed Conway, Coolidge Assistant.
So moved.
Second.
He's practicing. I think
Bill's
he's
in a hurry.
practicing, he is.
Motion by Bill, seconded by Erica. Any discussion? Roll call.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMasters.
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. And that was a haul on all those, wasn't it? Item number 9 is old business. We have no old business. Item 10, A, is under new business, is actions of the Region 1 Board.
Okay, so you wouldn't do this, I'll just say the administration is requesting ratification of the following actions of the Region 1 Board on July 14th, 2021. The information is presented in front of you. I'm just looking for a recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Linda, seconded by Zach. Any discussion? Roll call.
Curran,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMasters.
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 10B, joint agreement 21-22 tentative budget resolution and publication of notice in the newspaper.
Mr. Shuri, do you want to explain that that's just an annual thing we have to do for the new board members?
This is just allowing us to post it in the paper and, sign the resolution so we can put it on display for 30 days. It's just housekeeping. We'll have this in our budget presentation coming up.
It establishes the fiscal year, July 1st through June 22nd. And again, the public hearing will be established at the next meeting in August 27th.
Thank you, both of you.
So moved. Second.
And I guess discussion of this, Zach, I want to be clear, there's a joint agreement and there's also publication of notice in the newspaper that follows that.
Right.
So could you, in the first.
Yeah, it just shows you all of what we've done.
Okay, and Tom.
And this is for Region 1. The next one is Granite City. It's the same thing. I just did them both at the same time.
Tom is going to talk about that.
And again, the statute requires that we provide notice of at least 30 days prior to the hearing by publication in the Belleville News Democrat, which is our nearest local paper.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. I didn't catch who that was, Zach. Hopefully you did.
Yeah, motion by Vinnie, seconded by Knogle.
Very good. Roll call, please.
Nunn, I, McMasters.
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 8C, District 9 Budget 21-22 Resolution and Publication of Notice.
Am I on C or on D?
See.
Okay. Don, this is the same.
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
The first one was for Region 1 Special Ed. This is
for
now
Granite
for
City.
Community Unit number 9 fiscal budget, setting the fiscal year.
So moved.
Second.
Sorry, I was on D.
Motion by Erica, seconded by Eric. Any discussion? Roll call.
McMasters.
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Nunn, I, Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 10D is Property Tax Appeal Board request to intervene on appeal proceeding.
And Dennis, that's D and E goes together.
Right.
E is the resolution for D. So we just need to pass the resolution to intervene.
The
Got it.
approval is recommended.
Okay.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Bill, seconded by Talon. Any discussion on this? Tom, anything you want to talk to this one about?
No, again, this is just another warehouse. I think we're up to probably 8 of them now have taken, the warehouse owners have taken them to the Property Tax Appeal Board in Springfield. And we have appraisals and they're coming in right on line with what the Board of Review set the evaluation at. So everything's moving as it should.
Very good. Any other discussion? Roll call?
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMasters.
Aye.
Wolmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 10F is recycling of computers, printers, etc.
Yeah, the district is requesting permission to recycle the following equipment listed below by asset type and serial number. The items will be scheduled to be picked up by a certified recycling company. We just have to list, I'm sure Tom knows all of these things, yes, Tom.
And for the new board members, this is a requirement by statute that
Yeah.
every time you get rid of district property, the city has to do the same thing. You have to do it by board resolution. You just cannot, the district cannot just throw away taxpayer property. It has to be approved by the board.
Yep, so approval is recommended.
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Eric, seconded by Linda. Any discussion? Roll call.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Nunn, aye. McMasters, Stacy,
Aye.
Wolmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 11, looks like under A, Freedom of Information Act, there was nothing there this time. Item 11B, summer school report.
Yes, I asked both Principal Bratton and Principal Harris to bring some information for us about the successful summer school that we had this year, which was really needed, so I really appreciate them coming tonight. They do different grade levels they represented in summer schools, so they're gonna, I guess Jeannie's gonna go first, Ms. Bratton.
Yeah. There we go.
Good evening. I just wanted to take the first opportunity to say thank you. Summer school was a wonderful experience so far, especially having 2 sessions at Prather. So we're going to start with how we did at Prather. This was the first year for pre-K summer school, so that was super exciting. And as you can see, we targeted we tried to focus really on those skills that they need to get to kindergarten, those foundational skills in the pre-K. So as you can see, we had 59 students attend in June, with attendance was 83% daily average. 63% students attended in July, with an average daily attendance of 77%. As the kiddos worked, you could see improvement of 56% of the areas of letter identification and concepts of print. You could get the books in their hands, and they could feel them and touch them, and they were already knowing the letters of their name. So we really got a really great start with those pre-K kids. That was exciting.
It was great, wonderful.
Very exciting.
Just before you move forward, do you delineate between pre-K 3s and pre-K 4s, or were they all just kind of like your data set?
Yes, for the first session there was a few younger ones. For the second session it was just mainly the 4-year-olds going into kindergarten.
All right,
You're
thanks.
welcome. Oh, you're very welcome. For kindergarten, we kept with the theme all pre-K through 2 of those foundational skills of the letters and sounds. We had 69 kindergarten students in June, and our attendance was great. We had 91%. It was wonderful. 46 came for the July session, and we had about 85% come on a daily basis. It was great. Once again, letter names and sounds, we improved by 78%. And phonemic awareness, just knowing what the sounds are and hearing them and how to put them into the words. And story comprehension skills through the roof, 82% from pre to post. So getting the kids in and reading was wonderful. Math, students increased knowledge of number identification and counting, both rote counting and meaningful counting, 1-to-1 correspondence counting. We saw improvements of 85%.
Principal Bratton, how do you judge the improvement piece, or is there a pre-test?
Absolutely. We had pre-assessments and post-assessments. We use the iReady curriculum for both reading and math, and then we also use the Illinois Snapshot of Early Literacy.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Same with the first grade. We had 51 students in June, and their attendance was 83%, and then in July, we had 33 students, and they were there 85% of the time. Reading, as far as phonics, we started in first grade. They take it a little further. Now they start blending the words together, and they start reading full sentences and more fluency type things. So with all of those phonics skills, we saw a 72% increase in skills from the pre-test to the post-test. Story comprehension also showed an increase of 68%. We take it a little further, each grade level, of course, with math as well. So not only being able to rote count and identify the numbers, but what to do with them. What do numbers mean? So place value, and then getting into your basic operations of addition and subtraction. They rocked it, and they 65% improvement from the pre-test to post-test. We had kiddos that weren't really even sure what to do with numbers. They barely had number and letter identification down, and they were going out understanding how to do basic addition. So it was great to see. And in second grade, we had 23 students in June and 74% average daily attendance. 19 students in July with 79% attendance. Reading, once again, we're back to those phonics and skills, more digraphs and a little harder, but we saw a 60% increase. So they were working very hard. Story comprehension skills, this is where our iReady reading really helped. We saw a 62% increase from pre to post. As our second graders, as far as math skills, also showed a 63% increase. One of the greatest things about summer school, the number data, the academic data is wonderful. We saw growth across the board, but we saw relationships and we saw social emotional growth. We saw kiddos, we had a kindergartner that had been remote all year and for the very first time walked into a school building July. That was huge. That is, I mean, he just that transition into what next year will look like, he had an opportunity to learn what school was. We've had students that continue to get services as well, but once again, just not having so much exposure, having this transition time, have difficulty getting off the bus and making it to classrooms. We have a student through physical therapy that now can independently get off of the bus and walk to his room every morning. He's ready to walk into kindergarten. So we've seen some really, really heartwarming moments as well as academic data growth. So it's been a wonderful experience.
Just seeing that student you referred to, I was there that day, she pointed him out, he literally couldn't get off the bus. And in 2 weeks, this child was opening lockers, walking up and down the hall, pretty much being your typical age.
Correct, yeah.
And it was, and she told me that, I just couldn't believe it. So just having them in the building and just learning those basic skills.
Absolutely.
Was just amazing to watch.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeannie, thank you so much.
So we didn't have all the newbies in my building.
Right.
We started as low as third grade, which is pretty young, but they had at least probably came through the schoolhouse doors before.
Yes.
And then we had all the way up through seventh grade for our regular education program. And then also going on in our building, we had the fifth and sixth through 9th through 12th grade alt ed program, which is ran through Lake, as you were all very well of. That went on there during summer school as well. So we did also have some students who had been remote the entire school year that came to us for the first time. And so that was a big part of what we were targeting in summer school. And so third grade, we only had one session, which was the June session. And so that went all the way up until July 2nd. And so 24 students attended third grade with an average daily attendance rate of 83%. I would like to point out that out of those students, out of those 24, 12 had a 90% attendance rate or higher, which I thought was good. Students showed an increase of 42% on the iReady Diagnostic Growth Report, the test that Jeannie had kind of already mentioned. And so with the 21 of the students attaining full growth goal, the assessment measured fluency, reading accuracy, and words read per minute. The students for math showed an increase of 15% on the iReady assessment, with 4% of the students attaining the full growth goal. The assessment measured addition, subtraction, multiplication, fluency, and regrouping problems. So that's kind of some of the stuff that Jeannie's already talked about, but you see as we build on that as we see the different assessments. In fourth grade, we had 22 students attend summer school with an average of 83%, and out of that, students that attended, we had 11 of them with 90% or higher attendance rate, which was really good. It was great seeing them come off the bus every morning with their, I know you can't see them smile faces, but you can see their eyes smile. You truly can see their eyes smile. So it was great. Students showed an increase of 129% on the annual growth, which was really good, with 78% of the students attaining the full growth goal. The assessment measured fluency, reading recovery, expression, comprehension, and then again, words read per minute. For the math, the students showed a 19% increase, with 20% of the students attaining the full growth goal. And addition, subtraction, multiplication, fluency, division, and word problems were all measured there. That 129%, Dr. Keel and I were talking about that. He's like, okay, that 129 is really high. What does that mean? So we were just, concerned. And so basically what that is that's measuring typical growth for a student at that age. And so we might have some students, as Jeannie mentioned with some of those first graders, that didn't recognize any letters. So we have some students that are testing in at math at a kindergarten level at 3rd grade or at 4th grade. So when they tested, they attained more than 1 grade level. They grew up to almost 3rd grade. So that's 2 grade levels from where they started, 2 to 3 grade levels above from where they started. So that helps that data go to 129. And you're talking about 22 students, such a small sample group of students. A 333% increase is going to bring that increase up to that 129. So that's just some information for you why that 129 shows there. And so you're like, wow, how did that happen?
I want to say something. I went into a 3rd grade classroom. They were doing math with Miss Kirkhannon.
Karkanik?
Oh, is that 3rd grade or 4th grade?
Kokarnik.
Is she 3rd grade or 4th grade?
She's 3rd grade.
I went in there and I didn't leave till an hour and 10 minutes later because the kids wouldn't let me because they couldn't wait to show me everything she had taught them. You know, everything she had taught them, they were showing me how they counted with knuckles, how they were showing on the number chart, and just the excitement that they wanted to teach me what they've learned and what she'd shown me was just absolutely incredible.
She was teaching them all the tricks of the trade.
She
I
was,
remember.
and they couldn't wait to show me.
So the next is 5th grade. And so 25 students attended summer school in June with an average rate of 77%. Thank you, sir. Let's see, I think I have that for you as well. There were 10 students with a 90% or higher attendance rate for that. Excuse me. Teacher responses, this is a little bit different. So this is going to be some teacher responses on their end of summer school session progress reports. So a little bit different data here for you. So it indicated that 92% of the students showed academic improvement. The iReady diagnostic report results indicate further growth is needed, however, though. 26% of the students are 1st grade or 1 grade level below. 30% of the students are 2 grade levels below, and 44% of the students are 3 grade levels below academic competency. So you can see that, yes, we're making gains, but there's still more needed. The assessments measured fluency, high frequency, word recognition, vocabulary, comprehension of literature, and informational text. I do want to note that where the academic gains were not made, those students where they didn't have any gains, they missed 50% or more of the sessions. So they missed a minimum of 10 days. So that shows why it's important for them to be here with us. So with the math, again, with those progress reports indicated, again, 92% of academic improvement. And then the diagnostic reports showed that 16% of the students are below grade level, 1 grade level, 28% of the students 2 grade levels below, 56% of the students 3 grade levels below academic competency. And again, measured multiplication, division, decimals, area, and perimeter. So as you can see, these skill sets that they needed to have, especially in math, are getting more difficult for them. And I think that's where we start to see that higher grade level below. So math really does build. 6th grade students, we had 18 students attend summer school in June with an average daily rate of 81%, and 8 of those students achieved a 90% or higher attendance rate. Again, I hit the summer school teacher reports for this, progress reports. 83% of the students showed academic improvement. With the diagnostic report results, again, further growth was needed. We did, however, have some students above grade level. 7 students tested above grade level. 7 students were approaching. 14 students were below, 1% 1 grade level below. 26% 2 grade levels below. And then again, unfortunately, here's our highest number again, 46% of the students 3 grade levels below. Now let me remind you though, this is 18 students. Right. This is not our entire district population. This is a sample set of students. That's a small sample set. So just remember that as we're going over this. The assessments measured fluency, high frequency words recognition, vocabulary, comprehension of literature, and informational text. Okay, with math, again, we're going to start out with the progress reports. They indicated 83% of the students showed academic improvement. And then on the diagnostic report, results showed further growth was needed with 20% of the students 1 grade level below, 8% 2 grade levels below, and then 72% 3 grade levels below. And then the academic measurements, least common multiple, greatest common factor, fractions, unit rates, ratios, and long division.
All right, before you head into the secondary portion of the presentation.
Yes, ma'am.
So clearly you're painting pictures of great growth over
Yeah.
the course of the summer. So if you had to name like 3, I'm going to ask you to be very specific, but what are things that we could take away from this session and implement in the classroom? Because yes, these are small data samples, but I would argue that they're representative. They
Oh,
could
no, I
represent-
agree with you, yes.
And
I agree.
so you have these percentages of students that are 3 grades below level, but you still had some success over the course of a month in these
Yeah.
cases, or 2 months. So what can we learn from this and apply during the school year?
We've got to have small group instruction.
Yeah,
We see that, we've got them in their specific groups in every one of these classrooms. There was a teacher and there was a parapro in there working with them. When I walked in those rooms, there's kids down in groups sitting on the floor,
Yeah.
they're working in those. So our RTI model has to be addressing those specific areas so we can see, and these reports, which I'm sure you did as well, not only do the teachers have access to all the reports that show where these students gained and then still need growth, we also scanned and put in every one of their progress reports. We put it in their Skyward, and so those teachers, when they go up to the next school year, they can see that as well. So we have everything in there to give them knowledge. So those small groups are really going to be where we can identify where your need is and say mine and yours are the same. So we're in a group working with a specific someone, and Jeannie might be with somebody else because she has another area that she needs, and then we can all catch back up and then get to the main lesson.
Yeah, so, I mean, you said, small group instruction, but also data-informed instruction.
Yeah, oh, without a doubt. And that's what we have here. Yes.
Thank you.
One more question on that, so we're talking about 18, 19 students per class roughly, was there 1 instructor, 2 instructors? Help me out there.
So with this 6th grade group right here, this also includes the alt ed portion of that with that. So there was an alt ed class there with the 6th grade, but I think for this 6th grade teacher, there was 1 for the regular ed, and I believe he had about 15 or 16 students. We tried to keep all the classes under 18.
Yep.
So for the most of these other previous, there's been 2 teachers for each grade level. So you're looking at max 10, 15 students.
And what was the hours of the day for teaching? How many hours?
So we were there 4.5 hours a day.
Okay.
We served breakfast and we served lunch. So there was that time frame in there too, which was great in and of itself to have lunch at the school. I mean, I know we were in the classroom, but it was a great opportunity for me, and I'm sure you used it the same way. That's when I would really get in those classrooms and make those connections with the students. Really try to utilize that.
To follow up on your point and to your question a little bit too, though, just because those class sizes were smaller does not mean that that cannot happen in
That's
larger
exactly
typical classrooms. Like
Exactly.
Without a
teacher,
doubt.
you can
Yes.
do small group instruction, the differentiation,
Right.
and
Yes,
your full
you
capacity
can, without a doubt. Yes.
Correct approach is correct.
No, you just got to identify what their needs are.
Yeah.
So then you can address who needs what, not just to everybody.
Which is why when you put the data into Skyward and if we do it into Embrace, those things will be so important. And that's a process I know that we're looking at starting and being more better about doing that.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Just let me take a break before we get
Great
to
job.
Thank you.
We got 7th grade, and then I'm gonna hit real quick because I gotta tell you about the alt ed high school because it's really, I got some good stuff there. So I'll hit 7th grade real quick. It's the same type of stuff that we've talked about. 56 students though. You see we have a higher amount, and they had an average of attendance of 72%. We had 17 of those students with 90% or higher attendance rate. And all of this was based on teacher assessment in the classroom, and so we had the pre and post from there. But you can see those numbers. I won't read all those to you, but it's the same type of situation where they do show where they're at grade level expectation, where they're competent in grade level, and then students exceeding expectations. And you can see that those numbers are moved around a little bit in reading, and then the same situation in math. 44% of the students develop and are emerging. That means they're almost to grade level, working to get there. 35% at grade level, and then 21% exceeding grade level. And again, that was put in there. But this last one is the alternative ed. And so we had 9th through 12th grade, whereas Mr. Depew had all of his at the high school. And so we're really going to talk about credit recovery here, because that's what that was about. We had 17 students attend the summer school in June, which this is really good attendance rate. I'm going to be honest with you, for 77% of our students, that was a great attendance rate for them. Obviously, we'd like it to be higher. But I did have at least 5 students that got 90% attendance. So there was 16 of the 17 students who attended passed a minimum of 1 course. There were 2 students who passed 1 course. There were 10 students who passed 2 courses. there are 2 students who passed 3 or more courses, and there were 2 rock star students that actually passed 4 courses. And so that really brings them back towards credit recovery. And then because of this, because these 3 students that I'm getting ready to mention, they did not come to in-person learning during the entire school year. So I told them they were wanting to get back to the regular ed setting. I said, I've got to see you with your peers and how you react with them. So they came to summer school. They were really good, very well behaved, actually model students for the building. And so 3 students were able to meet their goals, and they were able to return to their home school setting for the start of the next school year. And actually, Mr. Depew and I did those re-engagement meetings today at the high school, so I got to give some tours. So it was really good. So all in all, with Alt Ed, we ended up having 3 here, and we ended up having a total of 7 students throughout the Alt Ed program that were able to progress back to their regular school setting. So it was a good year for us out there this year. Okay? All right. Thank you for your guys' time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Fantastic.
Thank you.
The high school will be doing a presentation on the 10th. We'll have a special meeting for their summer school.
Great.
Thank you very much. I couldn't appreciate it more.
Thank you for that. Item 11C is the Ground City Cafe STEP program.
This is our special director, Mickey Watkins, and Kelly Hutchings, teacher at the high school. They have done some amazing things with this program. I can't wait for you to see this as well, so I really wanted them to just show and tell you. Do you have any pictures of what the cafe looks like at this point?
We don't have actually photos because it's just a blank room right now.
They're pretty, they've got the wiring finished.
Wiring came in today.
Yes,
Today I went in and on the support beams, they have
Yep,
the
they have
wiring
them
for
all
the
done.
students, and then the kitchen is wired except for
Yep.
the stove, and they were working on my classroom today.
It's pretty exciting, so I'm ready for this one.
We're very excited. So Superintendent Can asked us to come and just give you a quick update on the progress of our cafe. And the first thing that you saw was our logo. So we have our logo was called the Ground City Cafe. And thank you. And I want to give credit to a Granite City High School alumni, Bryce Griggs, who put the logo together for us. And I'd like to give credit to Lucas Hutchings for coming up with the Ground City Cafe name. We wanted to make sure we were playing off of the GC, so he came up with the grounds, with the coffee grounds, so Ground City Cafe. So that's the logo that will be painted on the wall in the cafe, and that we will also use for some of our promotional things. So the purpose of the cafe was to create an on-campus training opportunity for students because they really just need some of that support for employment skills before they get into real life work situations in the community. And the skills that they can gain here would be transferable job and life skills that will be functional for them. This will be prepare our students for transition into entry-level positions in the workforce after graduation. Our students will have their food handler certification, which is good for 3 years, and that's a minimum certification that you need to work in any fast food or restaurant business. You have to have the food handler certification. Also, this will help to foster peer-to-peer opportunities between our general education and our special education students. I think a lot of times there's just a lot of separation, and so we're trying to bring everyone together. And also to help improve our school culture and morale by providing the students and staff with an inclusive and central gathering place. So the whole concept is, not only are we going to have the cafe kitchen area where we are making the cookies and the coffee that we'll be selling, but there's going to be an entire, almost like a food court. Yeah, almost like a student union for college.
It's in the atrium area of the high school,
Yep.
which you haven't really utilized well prior to this, and they're doing some decorations and putting tables in and charging stations, so.
Yep,
It's
the
just
wire,
gonna
that's
be a
what they were
big
talking about, the
investment.
wiring for the charging stations was just completed today. So they had like the double outlets with the plugs for USB cords, so they can put their, if the teacher reserves the commons area to hold class in there, then the kids can plug in their computers and then be ready to go. So really, when I've seen them in action, and we've implemented these in other schools, and seeing them in action and really utilizing the space for educational purposes, you truly won't believe the difference it makes in some of these kids' lives. So just a quick history. In February of 2020, the board approved moving forward with making of the cafe. In March of 2020, obviously, we had an extended dismissal due to COVID, and everything came to a screeching halt. In August, our planning resumed, and in April, there's a curriculum that has been approved. We have a curriculum that will be implemented. It's not just total work skills. In May, there was a class created so that the kids are actually taking a class, they're earning credit. The class is called Work Skills in Action. So they will be participating in that, and that's where they will be getting the majority of their curriculum. So right now, we have some students who have been identified. We have 5 juniors and 9 seniors. We're kind of keeping it small in the beginning just so the whole thing's not just so overwhelming for everyone. Obviously, we want this to grow, more students to participate, but we kind of needed to keep it manageable in the beginning just to get it off the ground and everything up and running, kind of work out some of the bugs. And in May, we also met with Ford Design Company. They're the ones who do the hotel equipments, the food service equipments. We had a meeting with them to go over a design space that's going to work for us. And in July, the construction began. So we've been working very closely with our Director of Buildings and Grounds, and he tends to go the other way when he sees me coming, because he knows that there's going to be something else is coming whenever I'm coming to his office.
Mr. McCullough too helped you with
Yes.
some of this to our food service directors.
We have a whole list of people that we're going to give credit to, because this isn't just a 1 or 2 person operation. This takes a whole team of people and collaboration for us to be able to get this off of the ground. So on the next slide is a sample of this is one of the blueprints that Ford actually helped provide us. So this is they gave us about 4 or 5 different blueprints for us to choose from. And I think, and I'm thankful for them, because they really helped us to kind of make the maximum use of our space. We did have to keep in mind that we needed to make sure that we were ADA compliant, that we had enough space. So we had to do some working around. But within this space, just quickly, there will be a refrigerator in this space, work tables in the corner. That's we're keeping with the Madison County Health Department compliance, because we have a prep sink, and then we have a hand washing sink, and then we have a 3-compartment sink, which is a lot for cooking frozen pucks of dough. But we want to make sure that we are following all of the health department and health life safety rules for ISB as well. And then we have another workspace, and we have a industrial oven with the doors that open this way, so that it is more accessible for all students when we go, instead of having the doors that pull down. And in the front there, where it says items number 12 and 10, it's kind of covered up on the screen, but there's going to be a pass-through cut into the wall so that we can actually have a serving counter that's going to be cut out for students. So that is where we are currently. We have all of this has been ordered also. We needed to get it ordered because everything's taken a minute to get here, just like everything else. So Kelly's going to talk more about the items.
Like we mentioned, I did go in today, and the electrical work is near done. The floors have been marked for the plumbing, which is really exciting, and I do believe that everything is on order, although we are not looking for a grand opening until at least January because of the equipment delays. So what we're working on at this moment is getting with food services and Chris McCullough to order the remaining equipment, the smaller scale things, such as the cookie sheets, the cooling racks, the oven mitts, aprons, things of that nature. Our coffee supplier is going to be Renoco, and they are going to provide us with the brew machines for free. Their stipulation is that we use their cups. And those machines will be serviced, and they've actually already been out one time and met with Eric, so that way we can make sure we have the wiring and the plumbing correct for those to be installed. So I've been talking with Des there, that'll be coming up. Our fall semester is really right around the corner, so that's our next big step, is to get the students in and to get them learning. And what's really exciting, it's scary to me at this moment, because there's a lot of unfinished business, things on, But what's neat is because of that, the students are going to be able to participate in the opening of a new business. And what a unique, this is just a unique experience that this group of students, we may not be able to replicate this exact moment again. But I'm really excited for them. And within that set of students that were mentioned previously, it's a smaller group, but the seniors that have room in their schedule are gonna be allowed to take the class for 2 hours. So they will actually have double the exposure to this business opening. So that's really exciting for me. They're gonna help, the curriculum has of course been approved, but they are gonna help me with the job descriptions. It's gonna be student-led, and I'm going to really try and step back and only guide. We have an outline, but they're gonna be able to define what job duties are completed by which person, so that's exciting. They're gonna help with inventory list, to create the list on the shared Google Drive. They're going to help us prepare the space and organize all of the supply and the inventory, and they'll be there to place that first order, which is exciting as well.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
The ownership.
I skipped over so we mentioned, or Mickey mentioned prior, that they will be safe food certified. So we're gonna use, like, the industry standard is Serve Safe, and so that is where we're gonna begin the training. There are other options out there, which is nice because Serve Safe is rigorous. And so that's gonna be what we're aiming for, but there are other options out there if we find that we have students that are struggling. Let's see, I think that's it. The next slide talks about, we're gonna use this as a process for getting students more involved in their education. We're gonna have evaluations that we're gonna do quarterly, but from those quarterly goals, we're gonna write weekly goals. And I have here, so we have the monthly evaluation and then also the weekly evaluation. And so, these evaluation tools are gonna be based on the Madison County ROE employee evaluation, which is actually created by Mickey in conjunction with the rehabilitative counselor from the Illinois Department of Human Services. So this is the guideline that our county is following, so we're gonna implement that in our building as well. The intent is that during this fall semester, we'll have some sort of soft opening. I'm hopeful that we will have enough equipment that we will be able to have teachers place orders online that the students can then deliver to their classrooms. Hoping we can work out some kinks that way. I know, I am a coffee drinker, this is gonna be an issue. So, and then in January, if all goes well, we'll have our grand opening where the students can come in before school and get cookies and coffee. I'm not sure, we mentioned this in our original proposal that was approved some time ago, but we will, the Otis Buckmeyer offers a line of cookies that are nutritionally compliant, okay? And I've been informed that they are delicious, I have not tried them yet, but I've been told that the brownie something?
Brownie cookie is amazing, just don't tell the kids they're 51% whole grain.
Yes, and then, of course, the coffee is going to be black coffee, and we will have, approved sweeteners, half and half. But they also, Renoco said that one of their more popular sellers for the younger students is flavored tea, which is not sweetened, it's just flavored tea, and you brew it through the same brewing machine. So we're looking to offer that as well. So, and this process has changed from the beginning. Initially, we were this space was gonna be for both the cafe and the business department store that they're gonna be opening, but we quickly found out there's not enough physical space for both of those items. So, Ms. Moe from the business department, their inaugural year will be 22-23. And they're still trying to identify the space that they're gonna use, but we do have some ideas.
You had a great spot, it's just the walls.
Yes, we can support beams.
It would have been a perfect location.
She can support beams, but yeah. But there's some other ideas, and I know that she's excited because she has intents of having my students work next to her students and have some peer-to-peer learning going on. So I believe she will be busy with the cafe as well, so.
Do you guys wanna talk about how this is being paid for?
Yes, so all of this is being paid for through funds that were generated through the STEP contract that we have with the Division of Rehabilitation Services. So the first handout I gave you is a copy of the work evaluation. That is a real evaluation that is used in real world for students with disabilities to receive services through DRS. And with that, we're going to write goals from that and have students identify goals and identify where they feel they need to work on things as well. The second handout I gave you is a pamphlet from the Division of Rehab Services that describes what the STEP program is, the Secondary Transitional Experience Program. And so we have a contract with the Division of Rehab Services to provide those services. So they pay us money, we service the students, and Kelly Hutchings has taken advantage of every single opportunity that they have had for us to even obtain extra funds. We had an opportunity to service the students through the COVID times, and so we were able to, through that as well, we were able to obtain extra funding with that as well. Of course, it also started with Stephanie Foreman when she was doing this, and she was collecting the money and getting the outcomes of the students working. So all the money that we earn from it are from our staff working with the students and them being gainfully employed within the community. So once they reach that outcome, then that's when we obtain the funding for it. So all of this whole thing has been 100% funded through funds from the self-contract.
I'm sure some conversations have already taken place in regards to like the impact on the rest of the community, positive impacts, but also having been at the high school, you know, grab and go coffee everywhere. One cool idea, and you might have already thought of this, might be as you're launching this business, you can also help them become even more like civic minded and create agency where they can influence the greater context, so they could help create some guidelines or rules in collaboration with, you know, Mr. Depew or whomever.
Yeah,
and then they could see that play out in the school as well.
Because there needs to be more talks of sitting down. Right now, we're just, again, we were kind of backed up from COVID.
Yeah.
And so we want to just open in the fall semester, but it just can't happen with all the other construction needs that are happening right now. So like she said, we'll do a soft opening the fall semester, and then we'll have a grand opening slated for, fingers crossed, slated for January with that, and we'll make sure everyone is invited to that as well. Yeah, the students, we want them to have a lot of ownership in this, because it really only becomes successful, no matter how much hard work we put in behind the scenes, it's the kids that are up front, and it's the kids that are actually the ones who are interacting and learning those skills that they need to work with the customers. So the more student buy-in that we have, and it becomes their cafe, and they take ownership of it, and then it spreads out into more school pride. The amazing thing that I've seen come out of these cafes that we've had is the relationships with our students that they're building with their gen ed peers. That's been the most. And I think what's most important is to remember is that the gen ed students, upon graduation and upon exiting college, they become employers. And for these students to have the unique opportunity to see their peers working and being successful at what they do, and maybe that might just spark a little something whenever they are employers and they're looking to hire individuals as well. So that's been one of the better outcomes that we've seen.
And while it's not, you know, publicly available, we have a coffee shop in Granite City again.
Yes.
Which I'm thrilled to hear.
Yes, we cannot be open to the public.
I want to point out that we are incredibly fortunate to have Mickey. She was, what was her title at the ROE?
Transition specialist.
She was the STEP specialist at our regional office of education. She has set up multiple cafes such as and led them through to their success. So to have her here and to be able to do this for us, I just want to say great job, Kelly.
Thank you. I love
so
this.
much.
Thank you.
The kids are gonna love it too.
We do want to give credit to everyone who's been involved as well. Mr. Depew, the high school principal, Nikki Petrillo, assistant principal, Mr. Smith, God love ya, director of buildings and grounds, Chris McCullough, supervisor, food services, Christy Mode, business department chair and co-op coordinator, Stephanie Boyer, special education coordinator, and of course Kelly Hutchings, the STEP coordinator.
Great job.
Thank you all
We
very
can't
much.
wait.
Great job, and I'll tell you, the soft skills alone, teaching that is so needed, especially today, so we appreciate that. And then I see, and I'm sure you all have already envisioned all the potential spin-off of this, but, oh my gosh, budgeting and owning a business and a board creation, something like that, I mean, it's,
They're trying to hold me back a little because I'm
I know,
ready
see,
to-
this is what she's
Stand back with you. Yeah, don't hold her back.
No, but I told her right now, let's just work on some of these skills, because they'll be involved in the budgeting, they're gonna be involved in counting money and making deposits and keeping, so it'll just keep snowballing. But, like I said, there's a lot of things I wanna jump forward with, but we need to kinda
I think it's great.
back up a minute
Thank
and
you
let's
so
just get off the
much.
ground.
That's a good model for opening a business, because you have
Yep,
lots
it
of
is.
big ideas, but you need to slow down and make sure you do.
Very good. Thank you both so much,
Thank
we
you
appreciate it.
so much.
Very good news.
Great job.
Item 11D, E, F, G, and H, I believe are all for informational purposes. That's the activity fund statements for June 2021, the bank reconciliation statements, and the memorial fund statements, all for June 2021. Treasurer reports for cash on hand for April and May 2021. Any discussion or anything on any of those? All for information again, so no approval necessary. And that takes us to executive session, and a whole lot of different lists of items there, but we do have 2 items on the executive session agenda tonight under 2C8, which is school building safety and security and security procedures and student safety. With that, I will entertain a motion. Did I miss anything, by the way? Regular session here? You got everything going? Okay. With that, I'll take a.
That was good. It just came to me.
That was really pretty good.
I will take a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second?
Second, or that second was by Linda. Motion by Talon. All those in favor?
Aye.
And the time is 7:17.